Shalom, Kohala Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and other bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing word and truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with a WW3 Daily update. Going to make it real quick. This is basically a little geography lesson. But we'll start right here because, the major parts of the world that hold the most value. You speaking of a world war, right? You're gonna, what parts of the world do you want to gain access or control over, right? The straits, right? The canals, right? For what? Shipping, for commerce. You want to gain control of so that you can charge people to pass through those things, right? So anyway, start right here at Joel 3. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. All right. So the reason for war, right, is to dominate the world war for that matter, or to take control of specific points on the map that are going to enable you to make money and to stay in power, so to speak. All right. So with that being said, let's go and listen to this guy and let him talk. Since it's Monday, this is the Military and Foreign Affairs Network featuring the voice of reason. Mission Impossible is the name. 20 hours ago. Take it away.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In this episode, I wanted to have a look at one of the most well-defended sites on the planet Earth. Some of you may know about this site. Some of you may not. And in this episode, we'll kind of learn about this specific site. Now, in modern war, we're watching fighting taking place in Ukraine. We have seen fighting take place in Sudan. We have seen fighting taking place in Ethiopia, specifically the Tigray region. That area, the Tigray region, is a fairly mountainous, hilly area. And this area, I would say, is very well suited for defensive operations. Now, you look in other areas, such as what's happening in Ukraine right now, and ironically, very flat, eastern Ukraine, the Donbass, very flat with fairly large built-up urban areas that we knew were going to be very tough to fight in. There has not yet been a period in war where we have seen massive cities, the likes of Kiev, Kharkov, and some other places that have been built up the way they have recently been built up, especially with metro areas under the city subsurface structures and tunnels. But by and large, again, eastern Ukraine is very flat, but yet we're seeing some very large defensive, almost static engagements taking place with lots of artillery. And it just kind of shows you just how effective artillery and anti-tank guided weapons are in the modern era. But what is the area on the earth that traditionally has been the most well defended, the hardest nut to crack if you were a military force and you had to take that objective? What do you think that is? Obviously, in Crimea to the south, there are mountains, there are forests, and there are urbanized, built-up areas that could, if the conflict ever goes into Crimea, which I don't think it will. I don't think the Russians are going to let that happen. But it's not the Crimea. That the area that I'm talking about is actually in Spain, or it's a small part of Spain that has been under the control of the United Kingdom for hundreds of years. And that's this site, the Rock of Gibraltar. And let's pan out where you, the viewer, can kind of see exactly what we're talking about. So during World War II, the British controlled this area and made it very difficult for German forces to move in and out of the Mediterranean. They would have to use U-boats and basically circumnavigate the Strait of Gibraltar. And if you look at the Rock of Gibraltar, again, this is a large mountainous area, or a mountain, that sets on a relatively flat surface. So this entire mountain has tunnels and fortified positions all throughout it. And not just that, it had some fairly large fixed gun emplacements throughout history as well. But the tunneling that has occurred in the Rock of Gibraltar is really just impressive. The British had dug out cavernous areas under this, and at one point could house as many as 16,000 troops under this key terrain feature. And if you look at it again, if you look at trying to attack it from the north, or basically the land portion, almost impossible, incredibly difficult. And believe it or not, the Germans had a plan. It was called Operation Felix, to invade Spain and then move forces down and capture the Rock of Gibraltar. And they had anticipated they could do it in about 3 days. I highly doubt that. I think it would have been a very, very tough operation for German forces to attack. If you look here, if you're coming from the north, from the land side, to attack the Rock of Gibraltar, and look at this. Look how big this damn thing is. And then obviously you can see some of the gun emplacements that were positioned, such as right here. And they could provide covering fire against any force that was attempting to attack via land from the north. And then again, the same issue from the sea as well. Very, very difficult to land any sort of amphibious operation, given just how well defended this place was. And you can go to, we'll go to let's go over here. This will probably give a better. So again, imagine, this is we're facing south, attacking that as the attacking force. Imagine the Germans during Operation Felix attacking this. Now, obviously, the Germans would have used a lot of aircraft. They would have used a large portion of the Luftwaffe to just bomb the hell out of this site. Now, what would that have done? Would it have reduced the defenses of Gibraltar? No, probably not, because again, dug in underneath this mountain, again, tunnels, fortifications, that would have made it very, very difficult. And then again, the most important aspect was the ability of the naval guns that were mounted on the southern tip of Gibraltar that could engage surface vessels and surface fleets trying to move in and out of the Mediterranean Sea. That's why the British control it to this day. It's a vital, and obviously the large population of British reside in this area that is controlled by the United Kingdom. But very, very impressive to look at this and look at the amount of tunneling that was done to protect this site. And again, this is just some of the fortifications that existed. And yeah, these are the tunnels. These were some of the World War II tunnels that were put in under the Rock of Gibraltar. That's now used for cars to circumnavigate the mountain, and quite literally dozens and dozens and dozens of miles of tunnels under the rock. So probably one of the most well protected sites in history, I would say, in terms of being able to defend it. Obviously, the British have never lost it. It's been under the control of the United Kingdom, the British, for some time now. And in all probability, unless the British just pull a Hong Kong and hand it over to the Spaniards, to Spain, it'll probably remain in the possession of the United Kingdom. But who knows? Thank you for joining us.
All right. Just a little lesson in geography. Let's see. See if I can find this. Russia said will. This was said early in the war. Let's see if it comes up. It says this is 10 months ago. Russia occupies Kursk, pushed back in Kherson. Putin ally says will bomb London first in World War III. Now, who is that owns the or controls the Rock of Gibraltar? Okay. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. Putin ally says will bomb London first in what? World War III. Okay. So the spirit of World War III is in the air as we speak. And I'm not going to go any further. We'll end it right here. This is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, World War III cometh quickly. Right? That's World War III in the Bible right there, the third woe. So with that, we hope that the elect are edified. You brothers and few sisters, with that, I'm going to say shalom.